Since I was a missionary over 30 years ago in Germany, I have spent a lot of time studying the war chapters in the Book of Mormon and all the different campaigns, the issues, the lessons learned, um, off and on, year after year, and that's kind of what led me to write this book and publish it for family and friends and anybody else who sees it worthy enough to share with their family and friends. We are warned, especially in Ether chapter 8, to wake up to the secret combinations that are around us today. And we see this very clearly now here in the U.S. We don't know all the different things that are going on behind the curtains, but we see plainly things that are just not right. And we see this in other countries too. And a lot of these things are hidden by the media. So I probably won't discuss every detail and all the campaigns by Captain Moroni against Amalickiah. There's just too much to go over, but I will be focusing, as I have been, on the main points, the main issues, and the lessons to be learned. For example, the recent chapters can teach us that the way Captain Moroni, fortifies his cities so that Lamanites don't even have a chance to get close, we can take that lesson and apply it internally and not allow intrusive thoughts, for example, to take hold of our minds and our hearts. And by doing so, we always have control of our desires and thereby of our actions. And if we seek to garnish our thoughts with virtue, as we are admonished in the Doctrine and Covenants, then we will always have confidence to stand before the Lord. That's what He promised. And so, coming back to the war chapters, Amalickiah, he's angry at this point in time. Diving right in now, Amalickiah is angry because the Lamanites returned empty-handed. Amalickiah wants the head of Captain Moroni. He wants to drink his blood. He wants to see Captain Moroni dead. And instead, Captain Moroni, he defeated and killed all the Lamanite leaders, the captains. And so Moroni spent a lot of time fortifying Nephite cities around the land of Zarahemla, pushing and hemming the Lamanite armies away. And so we read now in Alma chapter 49, verse 27, yea, he, meaning Amalickiah, was exceedingly wroth, and he did curse God and also Moroni, swearing with an oath that he would drink his blood. And this because Moroni had kept the commandments of God in preparing for the safety of his people. In these chapters, we see a contrast between the peaceful Nephites who enjoy liberty, want to be at peace, to raise their families, cultivate their lands, and worship the Lord. And then you have the Lamanites led by dissenting Nephites like Amalickiah, who just want to usurp power and control. If they can't have it their way, as happened before this new reign of judges, well, then they got to do it a different way. And that's what, for example, the people of Ammonihah were doing way back when Zeezrom was, and lawyers like him were studying to overthrow the laws. So now we have Amalickiah amassing such a great army that he himself does not fear to to go with him to fight against the Nephites. He's got plenty of Lamanite bodies to put between him and the Nephites. Meanwhile, Captain Moroni has to now contend with more dissenting Nephites in the land of Zarahemla in the form of kingmen. They want to change the laws so that they could be governed by a king. And this forms a division between two new factions, kingmen and freemen. The freemen want to maintain the liberty which had been set up by King Mosiah. And so Captain Moroni now has the task of sorting through this mess. So he rounds up the traitors and those who will not covenant the cause of liberty are to be put to death. It's a time of war. Moroni is being attacked from all fronts. He doesn't have time to deal with this internal fighting. He has to quash this right away. And so there are many who don't want liberty. They want to. They were of high birth, and it was beneath them to work for themselves, the way King Benjamin did, for example. So they refuse the covenant of liberty, and they're put to death. And Moroni has to contend now with Amalickiah again. And in Alma chapter 51, fast forwarding, we read that those who were in favor of kings were those of high birth, as I just mentioned. And they sought to be kings, and they were supported by those who sought power and authority over the people. They liked Amalickiah's idea of nobility and not having to work for their own subsistence. But behold, this was a critical time for such contentions to be among the people of Nephi, for behold, Amalickiah had again stirred up the hearts of the people of the Lamanites against the people of the Nephites. Here it is again. It's always the Nephite dissenters. It seems to be that always the Nephite dissenters who stir up the Lamanites, who otherwise arguably would never bother to contend with the Nephites. The Nephites just want to live in peace. The Lamanites just want to be left alone to do their thing. And then you have Nephite dissenters that come along and stir the pot and cause contention for both sides. And he was gathering together soldiers from all parts of his land and arming them and preparing for war with all diligence, for he had sworn to drink the blood of Moroni. To be continued.